Can trans women get pregnant?
No.
No, sadly not, because we don't have a uterus. But in the future, it might be possible. You see, there's this new thing called a uterus transplant, where they take a uterus from a donor and put it into the body of someone who is unable to give birth themselves. Once the uterus is in, they pop a baby in, and 9 months later, the...
Do you see the language he used? I want to be specific with that. They're going to take a uterus and put it into someone who cannot have babies themselves. Where on God's green earth did you believe that that was someone who had the hip structure of a man? You don't have the proper pelvis to have a baby. You are at the very least going to harm your pelvis. Also, your opening that you would get instead of a vagina would not be capable of withholding a baby. You have a gouge. It's not meant to dilate. The vagina is meant to dilate. That's why they say, you're so many centimeters dilated. You're this many centimeters dilated. Do you literally know nothing about birthing processes? I know I talk about my mom here and there. Do you know what my mom did for quite a few years? She worked in labor and fucking delivery. You know what she never delivered? A man's baby.
Well, first of all, in order to get the uterus to transplant into a man, women have to sign off on it. And there's not many women who are willing to sign off on giving their uteruses away.
Yes and no.
No, I've actually looked it up.
I was going to say, what if you give yourself as an organ donor?
Nope. Looked it up. They don't do uteruses.
Experimental?
They don't do uteruses. No, a woman has to opt into it. The donor thing, that's not a part of it. Uterus is not a part of it. A woman would have to agree to that.
I know that we've talked about this here and there, and you don't necessarily agree with it, but at that point, wouldn't you just rather someone's a surrogate?
Yeah.
Because at least it's way less medical intervention. You're not pulling someone else's uterus out and shoving it into someone else.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you at that point rather just have surrogacy?
Yes. A woman's body structure is made to carry babies. A man's body structure isn't. So even if he was to have a C-section, were to have the uterus transplanted into his body, his biology is telling his body, get this thing out of me. So it's probably going to kill it in the process. Besides, he doesn't have the hormones. He'd have to take a shit ton of all these different hormones.
I'm going to go back to my first point
in order
here.
I'm sorry, where's the umbilical cord coming from?
I'm going to go back to the point as to why I paused it.
How's a baby going to feed?
He said transplanting a uterus into someone who cannot have babies. That is not a man. He's talking about putting a uterus inside another woman who is infertile, whose uterus is defective. There's no doctor who's actually trying to put a uterus into a man. They have to be looking into women. There's no way you're going to start with men. You'd have to start with women before you'd even understand how to do it with a man.
Yeah, there are some people in some places trying this out, but obviously it's not going to work.